Party people in the place to be. Live from 58 Dream Street. We're James and with Games. Happy Saturday, everybody. Cedric, welcome. Yes, oh my. So yeah, when we ended last time, because here we are, episode 4, session 4 of our King's Quest 4, the Perils of Rosella playthrough. When last we left our heroine, I was trying to disinter a baby from the cemeteries of Tamir, and I was not successful. I found the grave that sounded like a child's grave. I used my shovel, and I was unable to exhume the baby. However, let's rewind a moment. Why was I trying to exhume a baby? Because after night fell, if I go back to the spooky old house, there's now a crying baby sound coming from the nursery. But if I go in the nursery, there's no baby there. It's a ghost baby. And so it's crying. And presumably I want to help it so that it will either, do something for me because it likes me or give me an item. Because this is an adventure game. So I tried to comfort the baby. I tried, it's like rock the crib. And it was like, well, it's already rocking. The cradle is rocking. What can you add to this, Rosella? And that was fair. Tried, touch the baby, make it feel better. Well, it's a ghost. Oh, your hand goes right through it. So then I thought, well, Rosella has a lot of musical talent, and she's a princess. She's probably also got a lovely singing voice. She's probably been trained. So I tried singing a lullaby. No, the baby didn't care. Or rather, it just wasn't enough. I'm sure the baby appreciated the lullaby, but it did give me a message to the effect, like, it worked in the sense that typing sing lullaby actually has a dedicated message that says you try singing a lullaby, but it's just not enough, like it's not calming this baby down, which is enough to make me think the goal is to stop the baby from crying, right? And comfort the baby, but that I'm not going to be able to do that just with actions. I also tried burp the baby, but you can't even touch the baby, you can't burp it. So finally I thought, well, there's a cemetery and I've got a shovel and I haven't found anything else to dig up yet. What if? And so I went to the cemetery, and previously, whenever I said dig with the shovel, before night fell, it would tell me, you don't know what to dig for. Now it lets me dig, although it's not, but I haven't found anything yet. So I've got a few different thoughts, because I can't let go. The logic of find where the baby is buried, because there's 2 screens of cemetery and a bunch of graves, and I've got a shovel that I can dig with. And I got to stop the baby from crying. And if it died when it was a baby, it was probably buried with its blanket or its rattle or a soother or BJ, welcome. It's got to be buried with something it cared about, right? I hope. I hope it's not just dig up the baby, show the baby its own skeleton so the baby knows it's dead and then the ghost can move on. I certainly hope it's not that. I want to cheer the ghost baby up. But yeah, the logic just makes sense, so I can't let it go. So we're going to mess around trying to dig up a baby for a little bit longer before I accept that maybe there's something else I gotta do. But I really just, I think this is gonna work somehow. I don't know if it's wrestling with the text parser. That's one thought. Because if before, whenever I tried to dig something up, it was saying, but you don't know what you're digging for. Do I have to literally, I'm not sure I said dig up baby. Or... Yeah, I can't shoot the baby with Cupid's arrow. So my one projectile weapon I can't use. I have the axe. Can I swing the axe around like I did with the trees? There are different things that might turn out to be the solution. But I really lean towards the baby thing. The dead baby thing, which is grim. But there's a graveyard full of zombies and there's a ghost baby, so is it that much darker to have a puzzle that involves the corpse of the baby or the grave of the baby? Yeah, there could be many different things. But I feel like stop the baby from crying is a fairly intuitive goal, and this seems like the method that'll work. So maybe it's wrestling with the text parser, figuring out what to say. Maybe I'm at the wrong grave. So I'll mess around with the text parser a bit. I'll reread all the graves and see if maybe one of them, maybe I said the wrong grave. And then failing that, We will hunker down and brute force exhume the entire cemetery and find out if there's anything that we can get from the graves. It's entirely possible. I'm assuming, I've been operating on the assumption that I have limited shovel uses, which might not even be true. But there's no harm in playing that one safe, unless a puzzle later has to be solved with jagged shovel handle, and I haven't broken the shovel, so I don't even know that exists. Yeah. Okay. Last word, starting with B in the verb list. Oh, good. That's just, Oh, here's the verb list. Okay. Verb list, last B is bridle. Oh. That makes sense. I guess you could, instead of put bridle on unicorn, you could say bridle the unicorn. Okay, cool. Well, learned a little something about the text parser. You can recognize bridle as both a noun and a verb, apparently. How clever. It is not, but thank you for asking. Here we are, but obviously this is not where we really want to be. We want to go back to somewhere. Is it just the Darkness Falls one? Let me look. David, welcome. Yeah, Roberta knows all about how some words are both nouns and verbs, depending on their context in a sentence. However, she might have met her match today. I am technically a master of the arts of English literature. I mean, not just technically, certifiably. I have documentation to that effect. Okay, so my original thought, there's a grave over here. It sounds like a youth grave. This one, hold on. Ooh, zombies. But we played, Greg and I, me and my buddy Greg, played some Splatterhouse on Halloween on Greg and James Beat 'em Up. And for all that Rick, the hero of the Splatterhouse games, does manage to get most of his kills with one shot, he would love to have Rosella's Black Scarab and the ability it gives her to just not even really pay attention to the zombies. The presence of the zombies and the fact that I had to solve a puzzle to get the Black Scarab and the fact that the zombies themselves are really, really easy to avoid, like traditional Night of the Living Dead zombies. There's only 3 zombies in a graveyard in Night of the Living Dead. The only way you're getting got is if, well, actually, like the main character and her brother at the start of Night of the Living Dead. She's not. She's the main character of the remake, but she's much Barbara and her brother in the original get got in the cemetery by like one zombie, but that's because they're like, what the hell's the problem with you? What's the matter with you, sir? They don't know there's zombies. Once you know there's zombies, you can avoid them easily. So there's easy to avoid zombies, but I also had to do a quest to get an item to dispel the zombies. I gotta do something with these graves, right? Read gravestone. Reader, here lies, but forbear to read more without a tear. 1. I cannot speak the rest. You may weep. I'll smite my breast. Grief preventing, and this stone too small to be written on. Only this, a little boy, Willie, in Abram's bosom laid. Okay, you know what? Let's move text parser gimmicking after rereading all the gravestones, because now that I'm paying a little bit more attention. Little boy does, like, maybe we just have a lot of tragedy in Tamir. We had an infant that died, but also, little boy is more something you use to describe at least a toddler. Yeah. Poor woman. I mean, then again, she lived in a house where help wasn't hired. Maybe she always had a soother or a rattle or a binky on her. Ugh. Let's hope There's one that's just like, my poor baby, may he rest forever with his toy bunny. 1634 to 1672, she'd done her best. Is this a reference to something? I don't know. But at any rate, 18 years old, not a baby. Where you are, tread softly, I entreat you, for if you chance to wake, be sure he'll eat you. Probably not what you would put on your baby's gravestone. Betty Cowden was 19. Here lieth the body of Betty Cowden, who would live longer, but she couldn't. Sorrow and grief made her decay when she lost her lover at sea one day. Well, that's sad. Dentist Brown. Stranger, approach this spot with gravity. John Brown is filling his last cavity. And this poem starts with at length. It's not a baby's grave. You're not close enough. I disagree, but I think this one's just not readable. Oh, never mind. Never mind. She drank good ale, good punch and wine, and lived to the age of 99. Good job, Rebecca Friedland. You are not a baby, though. It's possible that for however many uses of the shovel, if I'm even right about that, but if I might have to use, like, what if this whole wing of the game is entirely solved by figuring out which graves to exhume? Sorry, zombie. Oh, here comes another one. I don't think this long thing is a gravestone, but might as well check. No. Okay. Boom. I'll recount the full anecdote. Stimpinski was talking about playing a board game that took him a long time. And then Cedric was talking about playing a board game that takes so long to set up that you have time to play another game while you're doing it. And so I mentioned that sometimes in my classes, I use the board game manual route as an example of a game that is, not as of a game, as an example of good technical writing. Because it's a complex game, but it has a very, very well-structured technical manual. And apparently, I sold the manual so well one term that later on in the term, a group of students came up to me and they were like, Mr. Ross, we went to the local board game cafe and we found that root game because it sounded so cool. And then he said that they spent the whole time that they were at the board game cafe, just reading the rules and doing the setup for like hours to try to understand what was going on. And then as soon as they were set up, they were like, we got to go. So Stimpinski's asking, why did they have to go right away? I think it was just a thing where they're students and the program is very busy. So they probably didn't carve out much time. And they thought, we can go, read the manual really quick, get it set up. Yeah, it took them so long because it's a really good manual. But it's a really long manual for a complex game where every player it's an asymmetrical competitive game, so every player has their own subset of rules and no one player is playing quite the same. So after he told me that, what I told him and what I'll tell anybody who's interested in the board game route is that prior to whether you're doing it at a board game cafe using a public copy or whether you've purchased it, prior to getting people together to play a route, one person has to have already learned in great detail how to play the game and mentally prepared themselves to do a concise explanation to each player of the general rules and of their subset rules. You can't do this while you're all there. Because I bet also when there's a bunch of people there at the table in a noisy board game cafe and probably it's a Friday night and the students were allowed in, that means they were at least 19, so probably drinking some beers too. You're never going to get it done in time. Lord Coningsby, 27, not a child, a soldier who fell in battle. a wife with a real, take my wife please kind of, we're going to get zombied again. Okay, that little flat one on the ground doesn't seem to count. Yeah, so Stimpinski's story that set me up to tell him that story in our Discord. By the way, there's a Discord, folks. And we'd love to have you. Invite link in the About section. Yeah, Stimpinski was saying that he's played this Messina 1347. He did a solo game, and just the solo game took like 2 hours or something like that. That's wild. But I'm glad that you found the mechanics interesting. And I look forward to hearing how it goes. Because it's been a while since I picked up a new game. New board game. And I'd certainly like to do so at some point. Not this term. And I know this sounds crazy, given how often maybe I haven't been saying it on the air. But I've been saying a lot this term to a lot of people that I think everything's about to smooth out. And now I've accepted it's not. This is just going to be a crazy term the whole way through. But the winter term is going to be better. But I have a reason to believe that, which is that what I did to myself this term was I came up with all kinds of new ideas. Far too many new ideas. Dr. Iletsum. Here lies the body of Marianne Lauder. She burst while drinking a seedless powder. Okay. Is this grave here kind of in the background? Is that a grave I can read, or will I skip to the next screen before I get there? No, I'll get there. To the ever-living memory of Hiram Bennett, baby son of Edward and Sarah Bennett, who, by a sudden surprise, fell asleep the 11th day of November, 1553, age 6 months. Oh, man. Crib death, man. Horrifying thought. I don't have children. And it's still, like, occasionally occurs to me how horrible it would be. The now late lead singer of Smash Mouth, Steve Harwell, had an infant son who died, and that always struck me. Whether you're a fan of Smash Mouth or whether you find them annoying, it struck me as particularly cruel that a guy known for like sunny, happy music had such a horrible tragedy in his life. Oh yeah, PJ, Steve Harwell passed away recently. Yes, he perhaps not entirely unconnected to the tragedy in his life, had a lifelong bad relationship with alcohol, and he passed away recently of liver failure. Well, here we are. Jeez. I guess this is exactly the time to be sharing sad news about the world with people who hadn't heard it. Right before we exhume young Hiram. Dig up Hiram. Dig up grave. There could be some positioning stuff here. I might have to try this a few times. Nope. You carefully dig a small hole at the poor baby's grave. What is this? You have uncovered a silver baby rattle. Yep. Okay, good. That's satisfying. Very satisfying. That turned out to be the answer. And that really all that was holding me back was I don't think I ever walked up to that grave before. I think I thought that it was beyond the... I think it was beyond... I thought it was like a page flip would happen, a screen change before I got there. Oh, hey, the ogre and his wife are... Oh, no, there he is. I was going to say they're enjoying a nice fire, but no, he's out in the woods hunting strangers. But all right, here's our spooky house. Really spooky house when you think about it. It's right in the middle of the cemetery. That's odd. But here we go. I feel pretty confident saying now that this is like, what if it's not? What if you gotta go? There's 5 ghost babies. I gotta go through a whole gift exchange program to finally get the like stuffed turtle plushie that this baby wants. I am optimistic here. And then who knows? Who knows what? I have no clue what might lie ahead of me. Except eventually I gotta get Pandora's box for Lolotte, which seems problematic, except that it also seems possible that this turns out... Oh! You know what? That's a thought. I'm trying to think... Is there anything about the inscriptions on the graves that would make us think that was true or not true? Like the dates, do they all... Are they too close together or something? I don't know. Probably not a mystery that needs to be solved. Well, let's start with the most obvious approach. You drop the silver rattle into the baby cradle. As you do so, the crying of the baby ghost and the rocking of the cradle cease. You breathe a big sigh of relief. And yes. Suddenly, you hear a terrible rattling of chains from downstairs. Oh dear. There's also the ever-lurking thought in my mind. The sound of loud moaning and the rattling of heavy chains disturbs you. Well, I bet. But maybe in fact. It seems actually maybe we're going to have to just dig up a bunch of graves. Get the different things the ghosts want. But I don't know. Okay, no, this is not a ghost. Is that a zombie? The ghost. Okay, it is a ghost. Of a stooped old miser trudges through the house. It's at least Halloween week. Yeah, Greg was like, on Tuesday, Greg was like, tell everybody, James, what else do we have for Halloween week? And I was like, oh no, I didn't plan. And then I was like, oh wait, we're doing, like our Frosthaven scenario was called The Dead Mile. And it was, we were fighting ghosts, skeletons, and essentially the machine equivalent of zombies, like broken robots. And then today we're digging up babies and haunting or running around the ghost house. And then tomorrow in Ultima, if nothing else, I'll probably kill at least one headless. So there will be a little bit of horror content everywhere this week. The ghost of a stooped old miser trudges through the house, lugging heavy chains behind him. He moans loudly in frustration as he appears to be searching for something he can't find. Excuse me, sir. The old miser ghosts, loud moans and groans. It all worked out. Things have a way of working out sometimes. Drowns out my attempted conversation. Okay. Well, as long as you're not going to kill me, sir, I might just go and see if any of those graves sound misery. Whoops. The headless is like, it's such a simple monster design, but it's also so great. What did you do with them? Hey, come on. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I mean, this might not be it. The answer might not be a series of puzzles about figuring out which graves to exhume. On the other hand, though, I thought I remembered a miser grave. In the back of my mind, I also know that I might be in a dead man walking scenario because during the part where I stole the hen that lays the golden eggs from the ogre's house, they had a locked closet in their upstairs that I did not figure out how to get into. But I'm gonna hold out hope. That's not the case. Seems like a miser in particular might have been buried with stuff that he liked instead of leaving it to his heirs. You did tell me that before, and that's awesome. That's a great origin story for the headlesses in whatever RPG universe you were using. That's good. That is good stuff. A bag of gold coins. All right. This is... If this actually plays out this way, I think this is a brilliant sequence. Solve the problems of the ghosts in the house by figuring out who they are and digging up their graves. Not at all what I would have seen coming. That's a great question. That seems quite plausible that there's some... But let's check the dates. King's Quest IV, 1988. Beetlejuice, 1988. Probably not, because they both came out in the same year. It's not impossible, but I feel like probably not. Hey, Miser. You coming? I think I gotta enter this room from, quite possibly from upstairs, given that the descriptive text still says, downstairs, the miser. So I guess maybe the idea here is the last ghost I help. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I do not have any detailed knowledge. Everything I know about any of the stories of how these games came to be comes from a little bit of Wikipedia reading, but usually only when I finish the games. And then likewise, Corey Cole happens to be a pretty active commenter both on the CRPG Addict blog and on the Adventurers Guild blog. So, you offer the bag of gold coins to the old miser's ghost. He greedily snatches it from your hands and then promptly disappears. And then, Rosella cleaned up, but then she heard a sound. Wait. You see the sad ghost of a beautiful young woman. She sits in a rocking chair and weeps as if her heart will break. And it will. Because her lover has been lost at sea. Presumably. But let's talk to her. You try to comfort the lady ghost, but she doesn't respond. Seems as if she doesn't even know you're here as she continues her deep sobbing. Yeah. This is the problem with leaving abruptly from Daventry. If she had time to actually be, leading a progress, and she could just go to her chancellor and be like, get the priest. Was the young lady... I can't remember. It won't take long this time, though. I don't need to read any of the poems again. Oh, boom. Betty. Poor Betty's ghost. The fact that all these people lived in the same house gives some credence to the family plot theory. Although weird to not concentrate them in one area. Why not have like a garden to the west of the house, and then the mountain crypt and a graveyard here. Oh, I'm digging in a spot. Oh, no, there it goes. This is just a harder grave to dig up. Or I'm just getting more impatient. Yeah! You found a lovely locket. Heck yes, I have. Bounty train. No, I haven't, Stimpinski. But I like trains. Tell me more, please. And in fact, since I'm already intrigued, let me just leave a tab for myself for the bounty train. Oh, it's a video game. I know that much now. Ooh. That's appealing. I gotta start thinking, what are the things I really want to do? Interesting. What are the things I really want to do here on this stream next year? And maybe a mix in more contemporary. I don't know. Probably not. But maybe. Or maybe it'll be just something I wind up playing on my own time. But just your description sounds intriguing. Hopefully this has an image of her lover in it. I don't know why that would make her feel better. She had the locket when she was alive, and she cried until she was dead. But you're not close enough. Wow. Oh, of course, but very cool. You hand the lovely locket to the distraught ghost. The locket seems to make her very happy as she vanishes into thin air. But then, Rosella heard a sound. A loud wailing sound. Is this eventually going to lead us to having something happening in the organ room? Is the final ghost like, you don't get to dig something up for him, you got to sit next to him and like play a duet? Oh, sir. You've encountered the gentleman ghost of the distinguished lord of the manor. He wails despondently as he seems to be looking for something he desperately wants. You say a few words to the wailing ghost, but he ignores you as he continues his futile search. Well, he's the lord of the manor. I believe there is an inscription. Oh, he's here too. Yeah, he's looking everywhere. It's like when you lose your keys. You don't just pick one location and look desperately there. You look aimlessly and pointlessly everywhere you can think at every given moment, with no system or method. Nope. And this is the soldier. I actually remember that. I can just be using the space bar to regenerate the text. I do not need to type. Read gravestone each and every time. Such a good feature that I'm just I made such use of in Quest for Glory Trial by Fire. Marianne Louder. Dr. Lettsome. Probably that the Lord of the Manor wasn't Dr. Lettsome. Uncle Peter Daniels. Jerry Jones. The Dealer of Bones. I hope I beat this game this week, not because I'm sick of playing it. I'm not. In fact, part of me is sad because while I'm looking forward to King's Quest 5 through 7, and am grimly fascinated to play King's Quest 8, I don't relish the abandonment of the text parser for pointing and clicking. But I do hope I beat the game today because I really want to start up the... Oh, wait. Oh, no. What if the Lord's grave is in fact the, the fancy crypt? That's starting to look possible. Is it just unlocked now? That's too much to hope for. Do I have the key and I don't remember? Also, probably too much to hope for. Yes, okay. But I don't know that I actually read all the graves on the other screen. I read this one, right? I thought that I did last time. Okay. Let me double check the first screen. Because I don't think I'm just like holding something that he would want, am I? No, I don't think so. Ding, 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 ding. What about this one? Right by the tree. The Lord's tree. Dead, dead, dead. No, not unlocked door. Thorpe's corpse. I feel like probably the Lord gets a more descriptive epitaph. Some of these just don't count as graves. Here I lie with my 3 daughters who died drinking Cheltenham waters. If we'd stuck to Epsom salt, we should not sleep in this cold vault. Marianne Ladder. Did I already dig this one up? No, it's Dr. Lettsam. Jerry Jones. Delton Bones. What does that mean? He was the bone dealer. Strong and athletic was my frame. Far from my native home I came, and manly fought with Simon Byrne. Alas, but live not to return. Reader, take warning by my fate, lest you should rue your case too late. If you have ever fought before, determine now to fight no more. Rosella is a lover, not a fighter. Well, actually, she's not even a lover. She's just a plucky young gal. Still nothing of importance in the old tree. Is it just there to mock us? Based on our experiences of the previous King's Quest games, teaching us that we should always expect... Is this a gravestone that I can read up here? This would be stupid if it... Oh! Gotta type again. It's not understood. Okay. Sure. So did I miss something over here, or is it the crypt? And if it's the crypt, how am I going to get in there? Or to conceal something within their hollows. Because that was a recurring, like especially in the first 2 King's Quest, those games rely pretty heavily on the idea that you will just be picking up things that you find in holes and under rocks. Can I go over the fence? Jump the fence. Just leap over it, Rosella. No? Oh, but then it works. Okay. Yeah. Is there an inscription on the door? Okay. Because this one is not... No, she done her best. And this one's not, right? This feels like a long shot, but what if the Lord's ghost is wailing for his son Willie? I don't know. Any port in a storm. But yeah, I'm excited to beat this game because next I'm going to play the Chants of Sennaar in between the text parser King's Quests and the point-and-click King's Quests. Okay. Definition of insanity, I know. I'm going to go back. I'm going to read all the gravestones again. I'm not going to try brute force digging them up yet. Oh, come on. The soldier and the lord are one and the same. Okay. Well, it serves me right for saying, that's the soldier's grave. No point in reading that one again. Here we go. Dig up the grave. Oh, man. One thing we can say for Rosella is that despite living the life of a presumably pampered princess, she has some real cardio. I can't see myself digging up this many graves in a single night without probably being like, you know what, I'm just gonna go, knickers and blouse. Like, this dress now is just clinging to me with sweat. I can barely breathe. She's not even putting her hair up. I really enjoy this sequence. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Because Daventry did get poor. Lord Coningsby. Yeah, there you are, my man. That too. Lord Coningsby, would you like this Medal of Honor? You offer the Medal of Honor to the Wailing Ghost. He takes it from your hands with great reverence. Satisfied, he vanishes into thin air. Boom. 2 more points. They're not overloading us with points here, which makes sense, since this is a sequence of puzzles that are all pretty much the same puzzle. A cute little boy ghost suddenly appears. He grins mischievously at you, begins to giggle, and runs from the room. Where you going, buddy? You hear naughty giggling as the little boy ghost runs from the room. He's going to the room with the trapdoor. So it's not about helping a ghost to get them to let us in. It's about going through the sequence of ghosts until you find one that just wants to open the trapdoor. Now I also might need to dig something up for him. In which case I'll go try Willie's grave again. What is it that makes, as far as I can tell, only David's chat messages not line break at the right spot every time? Alright, kid, here we go. Are you willing to climb this ladder, Rosella? Yep, very carefully. That's responsible. It's happened at another time, and I don't even think in this show while I'm playing King's Quest and using this font, but I remember it was happening also to one other person. The little boy ghost laughs and refuses to budge from his seat on top of the chest. It might help if you had a toy to play with. Yeah, I get the idea here. What else do I see? After adjusting your eyes to the gloom, you see that you have stumbled upon the musty attic of the old house. The trap door on the floor is open, and from it, a ladder leads down to the room below. Useless junk and boxes clutter the room. Well, there's an interesting chest near the open trap door. Well, hold on. If I talk to you, will he say, "I'm Silly Willy," and confirm that I now need to dig up, pardon me, that child's grave? No, he's just going to giggle. Hold on. No. Careful, Rosella. That was good. That was a good animation. They really thought about, like, how would someone who probably has never climbed a ladder in her life and is also wearing a dress make sure that she didn't trip or otherwise harm herself. Well, if it is this grave, while it's kind of dumb that, when you dig it up before you find no object of interest, it's also kind in the sense that I would have really been, if I had dug it up and got a toy out of it before, but then the ghost baby didn't want that toy. maybe that's when I would have finally been like, hold on, have I read all the gravestones? But I don't know. There's Willie. And then the next leg of the quest is finding some batteries. In which case, thank God it's a Game Boy and not a Game Gear. I remember I unwisely as a child asked for a Game Gear for Christmas one year instead of a Game Boy. And I got that Game Gear, which was cool. A toy horse? God damn it. Why can't I just tell the ghost that there's a toy horse in the nursery? But okay. On the whole, a little dumb, but also I'm grateful because I would have been really frustrated if I had successfully dug up the toy and then the baby didn't want it. Which makes sense, though. It would make sense, because why would the baby want a toy horse? What does he care about that? It's a baby. British! Welcome. I guess their ghosts are like, you know, hanging around where they were last alive. So they're not like, you know, they haven't progressed in time to the point that they were buried, maybe? I mean, maybe they don't even know they're dead, right? Careful, Rosella. You give the toy horse to the little boy ghost in hopes that he will vanish like the others before him. For a moment, you fear that he will not, as he takes time to examine it carefully. Suddenly, he grins at you, and in a twinkling, disappears. Well, that's a happy ending, although, like, also, it just occurred to me, why not just open the chest? It's not like he's a ghost. I guess Rosella just, like, she touched the baby a couple times and was like, I really don't like the feeling of touching a ghost. Is it a crypt key? You peek into the open chest and find an old set of sheet music. You take the sheet music and carry it with you. All right, so we're on a run right now because this is very. It's pretty clear to me what to do now. Ah, I believe this is a Cedric message, but I gotta look. Yeah, that's the full message for anyone watching this on demand. I think that's a really, I find that interpretation persuasive. And I always prefer a narrative explanation to a pure, design flow explanation. Even if the real explanation was just the sequence flow design. All right. Here we go. Got my numpad. Oh. Having all kinds of problems. I accidentally went to the end screen, to the thanks for watching screen on Friday Night Frosthaven last night for a moment because I had the numlock off. So when I tried to hit the hotkey for toggling which monster stats were displaying, instead of being numpad 1, it was just end. And it turns out a default hotkey in OBS is for the end key to take you to the last scene in your sequence, which is actually a pretty sweet default hotkey that I'm grateful to have. Now that I know about it. Maybe I'll use it today. Although, it's going to create problems where I, don't turn the numlock off. And I say, be kind to everyone you meet. And then I press 1 and it comes up in the text parser and I look like an idiot. Can't do that now. Barely make out the old song written on the sheet music. You find it difficult to read the old sheet music, but you attempt it anyway. I think our girl's doing alright for having difficulty reading a piece she's never seen before and trying to sight read while she plays. She's getting the tempo changes. What is this? A small drawer is opened in the organ containing the crypt key? See a skeleton key. Satisfying jingle. All right. Dropping like dominoes. All right. I'm gonna get to. Never mind. I was about to say I'm gonna get to the place where we will do the thing, and then I will take an intermission to give the cats their lunch. And then as soon as I form that thought in my brain, I hear a cat yelling. So why don't I just go, get this done? I will not take long. Hang tight, gang. I'll be right back with you. And we're back at it. All right, satisfied cats down there having their lunch. I Abra's been having an exciting week in that she had sort of retired from her habit of wanting to go explore the hallways of our apartment building. So she'd only been out there recently. If I came home and I hadn't been home for a while and she was bored, her and her sister would like run out and kind of like go to we're in a little like alley almost in the hall, like a little offshoot. And she'd go to the edge and like look and then be like, all right, let's go home and have lunch or whatever. And then yesterday, I got up to go upstairs for some reason, and she was just sitting right by the front door, looking at me expectantly. And I was like, "What's up, Ever? Do you want to go for a walk?" And she was like, "It was yeah, I absolutely do want to go for a walk." And I opened up the door, and she charged out, and I went out with her, and we had to explore the entire available area, which is not that big, but there's a long, it's like an L or an inverted L. So there's like a long hallway down that we had to go all the way to the end of stopping to sniff all the doors and look at the glass doors to the shared patio space. And then we went back and she wanted to go the other way to the end of that part of the stairwell. And then she wanted to go back down the long hall again. And I was like, Abra, come on. We've been out here for like 10 minutes, sweetheart. And so we went home, but she was very invigorated. And then today she wanted another walk. And for the first time, she bravely stepped out onto the big shared patio space. But it was very windy. So she kind of went out there and then she was like, I hate this. This sucks. And we came home. Yeah. And then, fortunately, once you get her home, she has a sequence in mind, which is after we come home, you'll fill up my glass and I can have a freshwater glass drink. So we came home and she forgets about the walk once she's home. She's like, all right, time to fill my glass. Almost went the wrong way there. So that was cute. That was fun. Hopefully next summer. Because she had no interest in going in the hallway at all during the summer. So I think she'll really like this large space. Get to walk in some grass. I think she's only touched grass like once in her life. I took her on vacation and briefly let her go outside. And her and her sister both, like, they were out on the porch of the place we were at. And they go down the stairs. And they're both like looking like, what the hell is this green stuff? And Abra was like, I like it. I'm going in. And as soon as she just hopped down and was like, this is awesome. And just like took off walking around exploring, which was terrifying. But I kept an eye on her. And she's not going to go that far. And then Astra got to the bottom and was like, what is this stuff? And she went down into the grass by trying to like carefully like step in between it. Like she thought like I shouldn't touch any of this. And then she got down. She's like, oh, okay. I can touch this. It's not going to hurt me and I'm not going to hurt it. And then she lost interest and went home. Which is good because I had to chase Abra and make sure she didn't get away. You place the skeleton key in the lock of the crypt door. Slowly you turn it. Click. It unlocked. Not surprised. Only 60 points left. Okay. Well, I can see some stuff going on. Is that Pandora's box? What an incredible place. This looks like an ancient burial tomb with hieroglyphics written on the walls and an old coffin against the far wall. A pile of rope is at the edge of the upper platform. You see an odd-looking little chest here. It must be Pandora's box. But why does Lord Coningsby's... I guess it's not necessarily his family crypt, but why does this crypt... Okay, whatever. Cool. I don't know that it can all be so simple. Oh no. Oh. They I have not changed my soaps recently, although I started using hair product for the first time in my adult life. It's a coconut milk scented kind of deal, which I guess that's also a lot of the soap I use. So they seem okay with it. And they adjusted to the fact that I was baby-faced for the first 7 years of their lives, and then grew a mustache. But yeah, sometimes animals can just be really, really upset with any kind of change. And smells with cats, like, the cats go to the vet and then they come home and they're like, you smell like you're in the wrong place. I'm mad at you. Toss down rope. Lower the rope. You reach down and get the pile of rope. To your happy surprise, you find that the rope is actually a rope ladder attached to the end of the platform. Gladly, you throw the rope ladder over the edge of the platform, where it falls to the floor below. Now, I was not born yesterday. I can foresee that probably this crypt is about to open. The coffin. Perhaps there's a vampire or a mummy. In fact, I'm going to put my money on a mummy. Let's find out what this means. So the obsidian scarab just work here too? That'd be nice and easy. Look out for the mummy! It's faster than me, but it runs from the scarab. Okay, so I suppose the gimmick here is that it would technically be possible to do all of the grave digging stuff while just dodging the zombies. They wanted to make sure that you did it at some point. Take the box. I feel like I am close enough, but okay. Alright. So, this is probably... We're about to have our climax with Lolotte, which might just be the Raiders of the Lost Ark, ironic ending. She gets the box she wants, she opens it, it melts her face. Or perhaps I will have to really win Edgar's affections by hitting him with my other Cupid arrow, because I got to use that at some point. Maybe. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's a red hair. Oh, come on. If the mummy couldn't handle it, you really think you can? And then I gotta believe that there's more game ahead on Genesta's island. Or Genesta. Because it just seems... It just seems like too much. Too many screens and too much art on Genesta's island for the only thing to do there being getting a peacock feather off the beach and not even going into her home. And obviously we have to return to Lolotte. Uh-oh. Lolotte's goons. Like, we gotta go back to her when we get the potion or whatever the quest object that is going to save her is. Yeah, honestly, at this point, why would you be like, oh no, the goons? You just know that they're going to save you climbing this whole mountain. When you've already spent a long night digging graves. Lolotte smiles an evil smile. You know, she says, I've never asked you your name. What is it? You tell her, Rosella. Rosella. What a pretty name. You wonder what this is all about. I hope it's not about her putting my name into a curse of some kind. You find out soon enough. Well, Rosella, Lolotte grins ominously, you've earned your reward. That's an amazing animated emoji, David. My son Edgar has fallen in love with you. I wish him to be happy, and I give you the honor of being his wife and my daughter-in-law. Your heart turns flips and somersaults as you hear this. But yeah. I don't think that Mananan could deal with goons. I think he could handle them. You'll be married first thing in the morning, she informs you. Oh, will I? You will sleep in Edgar's room tonight while my son sleeps elsewhere. She motions to her goons. Let us relieve you of your burdensome load before you retire. You are so shocked by this tragic turn of events that you hardly notice your possessions being taken away. I mean, obviously, this is not the reward that Rosella was hoping for. To her goons, Lolotte orders, escort our Rosella to her room. But at the same time, she must have surely been expecting some betrayal. And you get killed betrayal would be worse. You think to yourself, now what? Well, step one, we say, oh good, there can't be a dead end right now related to the ogre closet because she took all my stuff. There's nothing I could find in that ogre closet that I would have with me here. Okay, normally this is Edgar's tower bedroom. Actually, for being in such an awful castle, it looks quite comfortable. Showing no mood to care. Okay, so carrying nothing. We got some items. I can see some on the dresser, but let's be thorough. This is the most unusual 4-poster bed. Yeah, not only are the posts, kind of weird looking, but also they're not. Why do the posts need to be that tall if there's no canopy? Small rug. Well, hasn't worked yet. No. You hear something at the door. I certainly hope we don't have to kill this young man. Okay. He left me a rose. And I'll go get that in a moment, but hold on. See a chest of drawers with a mirror on top. You look in the mirror and see the reflection of a poor, but beautiful, peasant girl. Look on chest? Okay, I guess I'm not going to use like a comb to murder Lolotte. Which I guess, I was kind of expecting. Can I open this door? Not close enough. What's this? Why, a beautiful red rose has been pushed under your door. You pick it up and carry it with you. Okay, we're not going to have to kill Edgar. Edgar is a good young man. A kind young man. Because, did you notice? There's a little gold key attached to this rose. Oh, do I just have the key now? No. You remove the little gold key from the red rose. Okay, good. I'm very happy with this development. Not only is Edgar, at least so far, unless this is a really demented, evil plot of his with some kind of twist coming, he's not only, a kind-hearted young man, but, he's empathetic enough that he knows Rosella doesn't want to marry him. And he doesn't want to marry her by force. Because he's smitten with her in a sincere, non-possessive way. Can she survive the stairs, though? No. Of course not. Tashtari, welcome! Oh man, Roberta. I was trying to be careful. You could have arranged that camera in a much more cooperative way. Okay, alright, that's fine. This is our fate. It already is. Oh, great. Oh no! Have you possibly disabled notifications without realizing you were doing it? One weird thing that Twitch gives you in your stats is it always tells you how many, every single time you get a stream summary, it tells you when you started this stream, how many of your followers had notifications turned on. And that number fluctuates a lot. A lot more than I would expect anyone to be bothering to change their notification settings consciously. Ah, well, fingers crossed. Especially because today, like at the start of the day, I was scheduled to start an hour later than I switched the schedule to, and then I missed the time that I switched it to and started in the middle of those two times. So it wasn't even like I set it up so people could follow along. Okay, well. Oh my goodness. The frustrating part here being that this isn't even a normal King's Quest stair challenge. The challenge here is related to the deliberately obfuscatory camera angle. Okay. That feels like it should be the hard part, but... Yep. Nope. Okay. Oh, but a sleeping goon is there. You're at the bottom of the West Tower. A spiral of stone steps winds to the top. The henchman is asleep. Well, maybe he's alert. If he's a hemophiliac, I can defeat him with this rose if he attacks. Or if he's allergic to roses or something. Or alternately, the puzzle is just that he's asleep. This is a rather cheerless dining room. Eating here would not be a pleasant experience. I must dissent from that and say that I think it would depend a lot on the meal. Because it's a fine dining table. Like if the area is not that hospitable, but the food's good, I can live with that. Henchman is asleep. Yeah, that's the thing, though. It would absolutely be like it would be like in Temple of Doom. Like it would be we're eating a deliberately gross meal just to upset you, our guest. Candles. Look at the candles. Okay. Oh, look at the tapestry. It's the most unusual tapestry. Okay. Look at the table. Great dining table. Looks big enough to seat Lolotte and at least 8 of her despicable henchmen. I think that Lolotte seems like at least enough of a caring mother. Oh, look at the bird. I gotta feel like Edgar's allowed to also join her for dinner. The raven is spying on me. Corvids. Well, let's not go the way the raven went. Yet. Man, that's a great poem. And like, not... Edgar Allan Poe has some other like pretty good poems. I don't think Edgar Allan Poe is a great poet by any means. And certainly he was not a prose stylist, although he was a pretty good storyteller. Or at least a pretty good story imaginer. I think sometimes his stories could be told better if they're written better. But the Raven, just like, oh man. Just a great like meter and rhyme scheme and the whole experience. Great poem. You've discovered the castle's kitchen. Not a very pleasant kitchen, but a kitchen nonetheless. Against the back wall, Two cabinets flank a cold stone fireplace. You see a long table under the one small window. Okay, let's look in the cauldron. The iron pot in the fireplace is empty, like all pots. Here are all your possessions. Great. Ta-da! Well, that'll come in handy. Nothing of interest in the barrel. Nothing on the table interests you. Yeah, like, I'm sold. You sold me on the idea that there's no way that Lolotte's preparing any kind of wholesome food in this place. Wait a minute. This could easily be a gimmick where one of the cupboards is full of, like, vampire bats or something. You know, it's an instant death. Cabinet is full of dishes. Take dishes? You have no need of dishes. What if I gotta throw a bunch of dishes at Lolotte's goons? Alright, let's see. Let's see what else is going on now. Oh, the Raven's back. He's reported. Do I have anything the Raven might like? I could just axe murder the Raven, I guess. No, probably we carry on. Good thing the Lolotte wasn't like, ooh, she has a cool magic fruit. I'm just gonna, you know, take this for myself. You see nothing special. Really? Currently, Lolotte's ornate gilded throne is empty. Two strange-looking tapestries hang on the wall behind Lolotte's throne. So in other words, henchman is asleep. Uh-oh. Did you take all my stuff? Yeah, including my keys. So I'm going to err on the side of not letting that happen as a plot event yet. Okay, what's causing the wake up? Because I got through that room once. Is it just coming too close to them? Well, that makes sense. I'll just give them a wide berth. Yeah. This seems like it's the way to Lolotte's bedroom. Rosella versus the stairs. Round 2, baby. Here we go. Stone tower steps can be very treacherous. Yep, that's true. Fair play for acknowledging that. No, buddy. Alright. He has to start, like, he brings you a pastry, you crumble it open and find the thing. Here, I got you some candies. Here, I got you, you know, it's a new dress. And sewn into one of the pockets is the key. And eventually he's just like, well, it's morning now. You have to marry me. I'm sorry. I hope you'll at least acknowledge that I did my best to prevent this. You see Lolotte's bedroom door and a winding stairway leading down the tower. Seems like it should be locked, but yeah, I don't want to save up here because if I gotta load again, I want to just load not up these stairs. Unlock it first. Does the key work here too? Okay. All right. Lolotte does not keep a locksmith on retainer. She does not employ a locksmith. None of her henchmen are good at locksmithing. So they just have one do-it-all lock. Okay. So now what? So this is Lolotte's bedchamber. You question her taste in decorating, as the furniture is a bit on the gaudy side. And speaking of Lolotte, the old bat is sound asleep on her massive bed. The bed is huge. Takes up most of the room. Yeah, like the little, there's a lot of gold embellishments, which are kind of gaudy looking. But otherwise, I think the furniture seems pretty tasteful. See nothing special. What if I look at the mirror? Not close enough. Oh, wait. Nah, just keep doing new ones. Why not? Thought maybe this one would be some kind of gimmick. Does Lolotte have something on her, like the key to the front door or something? The evil fairy queen sleeps soundly in her bed. She wears Genesta's magic talisman around her neck. You see it gleaming upon her chest. As she sleeps, she makes very strange clicking sounds. Alright. Can it be also simple? What was the word? Was it charm? Talisman. You have to get a little closer. Damn. You have to get a little closer. No. Okay. I guess it's just from this side. Maybe? Okay. You stupidly wake Lolotte up. Viper! She screams as she quickly sits up, points a gnarled finger at you, and zaps you into oblivion. Fair. Okay. So, what do I have? Doesn't feel like smother Lolotte with pillow. That's going to be the answer. And it also doesn't feel like this is going to be the answer, but let's see. No. Okay. For the time being, let's pop back down the stairs and see if there's any way I can get into that area. Without just immediately being got by the goon. No. And then he chases me right out. So what am I supposed to do there? Let's go back to this save. Okay. What could I do to the goon? Probably don't need to make the goon fall in love with me, but who knows? No. 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 Okay. Can't sneak past him in frog form. Have I still not used the flute for anything? I don't see why the flute's gonna help here. Do I shoot Lolotte and make her fall in love with me? Lolotte? Hmm. Hmm. Yes, I did use it for that. Probably doesn't also work here. No. Okay. So maybe I should see if there's anything else I can do here. Yeah, I have the axe. She's just sleeping there. Oh. Okay. Does it work? Lolotte sits straight up in her bed, a look of agony upon her face. What did you do to me? She shrieks. I'm melting. Melting. No, wait. That's another story. Let's try again. Do I have to hit the button, or will the game advance this? It's up to me. No. It hurts! It hurts! Stop the pain! Stop it! You cringe as you watch the evil fairy die a painful death. What happened, you wonder? How could Cupid's arrow have done that? You thought that those arrows were harmless and contained only love. Because she's evil. She hates love. Makes sense. Yeah, I really kind of thought that if it worked, it would work by making her like me. Wait, that must be it. Love! Lolotte was so evil that when all that pure love entered her body, it acted as a poison to her system. In spite of yourself, you feel a sense of sweet revenge. Hooray! Hooray for love! As she breathes her last, Lolotte manages to gasp. I don't know how, but I'll get you for this. A bright new day is dawning. Oh, hey, honey. I'm sorry, I did kill your mom. Edgar bows to you, acknowledging his evil mother's death. He begins to say, You may now walk freely about the castle. He suddenly begins to blush. Okay, so he didn't like his mom either. Even though, well, she'd get him a bride, but he even knew that that was bad. Edgar's a good guy. And now he's got his own castle. Hopefully the goons will, I bet they get better break times once, maybe they can sleep in beds instead of sleeping on their night shift. Okay. A beautiful new day. It's a new day. Yes, it is. Wouldn't want to leave without the talisman. Yeah, and Edgar's the kind of guy who just bargains in good faith. He supports his employees because he appreciates the work they do for him. Alright. I got cocky. I thought maybe this one actually is simpler. I don't need to be toggling between movement directions. Why would I think that? Indeed. I assume that's exactly what they'll call it. Hey, boys. How's it going? Well, its goons won't bother you anymore. Well, I know that. I was just trying to be nice. It's the east end of the hallway. Okay, sure, yes. Hey, it's the hen that lays the golden eggs. Some sort of storage room. And guess what's stored here? Yes, Pandora's box and the magic hen. Probably I should take the Pandora's box on the grounds of it would be sad if Edgar just like one day was just like going through his mom's things and figuring out what to throw out, and he opened the box and nothing. No, take Pandora's box. I think now we gotta believe. I think we gotta believe more than ever that we're gonna see the unicorn again and he's gonna be okay. I got points for it, so it was the right thing to do. There's nothing useful on the shelves. Ah. Oh, is that... What is that? It looks like a cloth or a curtain or something. Oh, well. I bet that's the whole point of this room. I'll proceed on that assumption for now. And I get... You know what I ought to do? It's obviously going to be a game over, but... We can't not just see what happens. Oh, no. Perhaps actually that will be a thing we have to do. And it's not just extra points. Maybe, maybe not. West end of a dim hallway. There's a closed door here. What's with the chair? It's quite a fancy chair. How fancy? Don't have time to find out. You wouldn't really want to visit your old cell, would you? Oh, right, right. I mean, maybe I would. I could do Edgar a solid by cleaning up the bones for him. Did all that free cleaning for the dwarves. I bet Edgar would be much more grateful if Rosella cleaned the castle for him. All right. It's going to be a bright, bright, bright and sunshiny day. Okay, sure, yeah. No one stole the raven. I think there's probably nothing else to do here, but might as well peek around. Well, that would be just back to the bedroom I was imprisoned in. Edgar's room. Actually, hold on. Is there any more Edgar content if we go and visit him in his room? Well, whoever's directing this is a master of suspense because I can hear a thirsty cat. I gotta run upstairs, trickle that tap, turn it off when it's done trickling, when she's done drinking. I'll be right back, gang. Hang tight. And we're back. Okay. Time for the resolution, if there is one, to the Edgar plotline. Well, I've got to save at the bottom of the stairs. Like a pro. Ah, he's not in his room. Perhaps he's in the stables brushing his unicorn. I really do hope we get confirmation that the unicorn's okay. That they didn't have, like, unicorn stew for supper while I was... Oh, that... We'll certainly try to kiss Edgar. If we see him again. Which I assume we will. There we go. Okay, good. Standing on a rocky mountain next to Lolotte's castle, there's a small stable. You've entered Lolotte's stable, and it looks like an ordinary stable at that. The poor unicorn has been imprisoned here. Just open the gate. Yes, that's... Okay. You're not close enough. Of course. Yep. No, that's fair. I can see why I'm not close enough. You're not close enough. Now I'm getting angry. Is it this side? This side looks like the hinges. Okay. Okay. It's alright. It's alright. We'll figure it out. Is it the other gate that I have to open? What on earth? We can't, not without my unicorn friend. What is it? Okay, come on. See, 2 stable gates. Yes, I do. Open right gate. Not close enough. Can I open it from right here? Okay, you gotta just stand by the center pillar. As soon as you open the gate. Oh, it's because the wild unicorn is gonna come out so quickly that that Rosella knows that if she's standing at all in the arc of the gate, she's going to be smashed. She's a sharp one, our Rosella. You know, her brother obviously was forced to develop a wiliness and a resourcefulness just to cope with his horrible life, being raised as a slave to an evil wizard. Rosella grew up in, you know, declining luxury, but she's still a princess. She didn't make her soft. As you open the gate, the splendid wild unicorn impatiently leaves its hated prison. It quickly trots out the open stable door to freedom. See you, buddy. Feels good to have done that. And not just because it got me some points, although I do love points. And now... Yep. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe I'll type the word look and see if there's a gimmick here. Treacherous path, winds narrowly around the craggy mountain. No. Nothing so kind as it making any sense. Okay. Man, I pity anyone who tried to do that without the knowledge of the numpad allowing diagonal movement. Because even with diagonal movement, I had to stop her after each individual step to stop her from getting off track. Well, this part seems unambiguous. Oh my. I do. I have great sympathy, Cedric. But hey, next time you do a playthrough, you'll be golden. Oh, hey, buddy. Is he leading me to somewhere, or is it just, he's majestic and wild and free? He does not want to be bridled again. The unicorn doesn't trust you now. That's fair? That's fair. But wait. No. I don't have like a carrot or anything. I have no arrows left, right? No. It does seem like it might be like a stretch points goal to regain the unicorn's trust. At the same time, he's free now, and it's just selfish to be like, but he has to be free and think well of me, despite the fact that I did get him kidnapped. Or I guess I literally kidnapped him. I ransomed him to an evil fairy. Well, golden fish usually means no shark. I guess the idea being that if there were golden fish and a shark in the same area, the shark would eat the golden fish. Hello, peacock. You have no reason to do that. What about the fact that he owns it? Okay, so just a lot of lovely screens. There's all those. There could still be something to do, but like it kind of feels like I'm just gonna go up and give her the talisman and be done, right? Like, I don't know, maybe we gotta solve a couple of simple puzzles involving Genesta's storage closet or whatever. But it kind of feels like this is the straightforward denouement. Let's find out. You give the magic talisman to the dying fairy. Almost instantly, the color returns to her cheeks, and her green eyes begin to sparkle. She sits up in bed, stretches, and smiles at you. Hey, Genesta. You have saved my life, Rosella, the beautiful fairy says gratefully. 224. If I get 6 points for giving that fruit to my old man. Or I might just come up 6 points short. Or perhaps it's getting all her papers together. It's not going to advance for me. I'm always super nervous when games mix non-auto advanced dialogue with auto advanced dialogue, that I will think I need to do it, and then it advances, and then I hit it and I miss a line. And you have saved Tamir from the persecution of Lolotte. We are deeply indebted to you. I want to go outside. I need to feel the warm sun on my face. You could, presumably with your magic, have windows on like all cardinal directions. You'd always have sun in here during the day. Exuberantly, she waves her wand and suddenly you find yourself outside. My little hen, Genesta suddenly exclaims. Wherever did you find her? Oh, the ogre and his wife. 2 more points. You explain that the ogre had possession of her. Can I get 4 for giving her Pandora's box to lock in her vault? Poor thing, she says. Well, at least she's back home now. Now for you, Rosella, Genesta says. It's my turn to help you out. I will return you to Daventry, and with the magic fruit, you will be able to save your father's life. We'd better hurry, though, as he doesn't have much time left. Yes. You are anxious to get home again. Was I supposed to return Pandora's box to the crypt for points? But first, Genesta proclaims, let's replace these peasant clothes with your royal gown. With a twinkle in her eye, Genesta announces, there is someone else deserving of a reward for his kindness and heroism. Oh, great. Excellent. You have a beautiful soul, Edgar, the fairy says to the ugly little man. You should look like what you are. Alright, so we're not doing any revisionism on the problematic... This handsome hunk is Edgar? Rosella, he says, I love you. Will you marry me? You think about it. You think about it some more. And then... I'm sorry, Edgar. You're very sweet, but I must immediately return home. Perhaps we'll meet again, you say. Well, Rosella, Genesta announces, it's time for you to go. Your father desperately needs you. Goodbye. We'll never forget you. Oh, she picks up the hat. That's a good touch. Because she's got to give it back to her dad because he's the star of the next game. You give the healing fruit to your dying father and strongly urge him to take a bite, which he weakly does. Yeah, they didn't undo the trope of the problematic fairy tale trope of outer beauty being a reflection of inner beauty. How are you feeling, father? You excitedly ask him. Never felt better in my life, is his reply. What is in this fruit anyway? He wonders. It is magic, father. And you tell your excited family of your adventure in Tamir. I don't think you're through with this hat yet, you say. Your brother Alexander and your mother, Queen Valenice, readily agree. You've got too much life ahead of you. At least one more quest's worth of life ahead of you. And then maybe some reboot prequels. Awkward family photos. Nice. So, all's well that ends well. Until next time, goodbye! Catch you later, Roberta. I bet you have some dead ends and a notoriously large desert maze in store for me. Because I know that that's true. Fortunately, King's Quest V, despite not being the King's Quest game I beat in my youth, I've beaten King's Quest VI with my buddy. Don't remember a goddamn thing about it. But King's Quest V looms large in my mind, and I remember like a lot of the stupid dead ends. I will not be letting the rat get eaten and just carrying on with my life. I think there's also a thing about there's 2 objects you can throw at the rat. I'll make sure I throw the right one, maybe, if I know somehow. I'll make sure I have that hot pie for the Yeti. I know more about King's Quest V than any of the other games. For whatever reason. Okay, and then if I press enter, do we get credits or anything? No. I guess because they did like old-timey Hollywood opening credits, right? So that's fair. We're just done. Hey. Cool. Well, let's learn about what I missed. Feels like returning Pandora's box to the crypt is probably what it is. Let's find out. This was a good game. All right. The Sierra help site always just goes, oh, we can't give you a secure connection. It's like, all right, well, screw you then. Okay. King's Quest 4 points list. Here we go. I won't read them all aloud. I'll just look for the ones I didn't do. You were very young, right? Makes sense to have tunnel vision on the game's main quest. Boom. Return box to crypt and lock the crypt on the way out. Each of those are 2 points. You know, they should have also had points for go back and fill those graves in. But yeah, 2 points for returning the box, 2 points for locking the crypt. Cool. Well, I could have had a perfect score had I just thought a little bit more. But that's okay. One other thing I want to look... a couple other things I want to look at here. Actually, they might actually both be the same thing. King's Quest IV Dead Ends. Alright. Here's a list. I've very carefully not scrolled down past King's Quest IV. These are all the possible dead ends. Yeah. And you know what? That isn't even like a selfish thing. Your father's dying. That's urgent. It's possible to lose the chance to catch the unicorn if you shoot it and don't have the bridle, or if they shoot something else. The shooting something else part makes sense, but the first time on the aborted playthrough, I shot the unicorn well before I had the bridle, and he just hung around. So I don't know. Letting time progress in real time without solving certain puzzles can prevent those puzzles from being solved. In particular, if night passes before you get the key to the crypt, it becomes impossible to get Pandora's box. I guess it seems obvious that there were event triggers for time passing, but I guess also you can just wait it out. So they kept a little bit of the real time from King's Quest III. Using up all the love arrows will stop you from defeating Lolotte. Not having the fish before you go to Desert Isle. Not having the feather in the whale's mouth will lead to death in the whale. And, oh, here we go. Breaking shovel before digging out all 5 items. Shovel breaks after 5 digs. Yeah. I had I had a little doubt because I didn't know, but it just felt like this shovel is gonna this is going to break if I use it too much. And I'm not surprised that it's a 1-to-1, how many times you need it, how many times you can use it ratio. I don't normally... I guess I should edit this wiki, shouldn't I? I'm looking at the King's Quest Omnipedia. But it doesn't say if you don't try to return the diamonds to the dwarves, you will get a dead end. But you do. So hey, I discovered something that even the King's Quest 4 Omnipedia didn't know about. A way to ruin the game for yourself. Okay. Cool. Awesome. And very timely, the way it all came together, because I had a hard stop today. I had like more than a half hour, 40 minutes left, but that was it. So didn't have to rush. Didn't have to anger Danielle that I was pushing. Just wait till 4:10. I know. I'm gonna get down these stairs eventually, or down this mountainside or whatever. Yeah. So here we are. Closing thoughts on King's Quest IV: The Perils of Rosella. I loved it. I thought this was an excellent game. Obviously, the various aesthetic upgrades were great. I really, really enjoy the art, which, the original trilogy, the art got much better in game 2 and 3, but only in the sense of better execution. It was not any more advanced. We've got some more advancement in the graphics here, and they look very nice. They were well executed and technically advanced, which you gotta have both. I don't care if you're gonna introduce some technical improvement and it's not pretty from an artistic perspective, right? The music was fantastic. Like, they did not bad with some of the music in the earlier games, given that like PC speaker is just not a great sound style at all. Oh, I hear Danielle getting home. Perfect timing. But beyond that, it was also a really fun game. I enjoyed the puzzles. I can forgive the dead end because I was able to resolve it pretty quickly with a little help from my friends. And otherwise, yeah, I feel like, yeah, it definitely was. Very much so. I feel like the reputation Roberta Williams has for infuriating puzzles and stuff like that, I don't know. Like, obviously, okay, in the first one, I would never have... Maybe I would have, in a million years, have solved the Rumpelstiltskin puzzle. But probably not. But it's not even necessary to beat the game. And fortunately, I just read about it and I knew the solution. King's Quest II, the bridle to transform the snake into the Pegasus is not intuitive at all, but because the bridle is one of the items you can acquire from the genie lamp, which is also required to get you there, because he gives you the magic carpet first. It came together pretty... I stumbled on it. When I said throw bridle at snake, I was not thinking so it turns into a Pegasus. But I got through it. King's Quest 3. Were there any really infuriating... I guess the look on the closet thing could have been angering, but that was the one thing I remembered reading about. And then I didn't remember anything in this game. I can see... You know what? Okay. Kind of irritating the way that Genesta doesn't say, like, hey, I'm just going back to my castle, which is a few screens swim to the west from here. But as Cedric pointed out, she does fly off to the west and say that she has to go rest. So there's a bit of a hint there, but it was a little weird because like he gets swallowed by the whale, and then it seems pretty intuitive when there's nothing in the whale that you can take, that the point of being in the whale is to get vomited up on a deserted island. And then it turns out there's also a different island you can swim to. But then the whale is still there to vomit you up next to a deserted island you otherwise can't swim to. That's a little weird, but a lot of the pieces around it were, like I got to the island because I was stymied and I thought, might as well you spend some time finding out if there's other things in the ocean. Ooh. A bold stance, Cedric. I think. I mean, oh man, yeah, that troll, especially the troll cave, like that sucked. But yeah, the stairs, except for that one stairwell at the end, weren't that hard on me because I had discovered the secret of diagonal movement in King's Quest 3. Partially, I must acknowledge that my frustration level with all of the random monster spawn deaths and like trying to get across a chasm on a board when you can't see any of it, deaths and all that kind of stuff, is lessened by the fact that I'm playing on a modern computer and there's very little friction with the reloads. You've never got across a square room so quickly, from corner to corner, Stimpinski. Yeah, but otherwise, like, I felt like the puzzles made a lot of sense within the fairy tale logic of the King's Quest series. And I like Rosella as a plucky new heroine. And yeah, so that stuff's all very good. I like the gradual building of a mythos, or like not maybe like a world is too much to say, but certainly building just like we have a family now that we'll get to see in other iterations. Eventually, we'll get to even control Queen Valinus in King's Quest 7, which I've never played, and I'm looking forward to. Yeah. So a lot of good stuff. I'll say this: my Master of Arts, my English literature thesis, was on the subject of beauty as a metaphor, specifically as used as a metaphor in Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and then later in Charlotte Bronte's final novel, Villette. But the first chapter of that 3-chapter thesis is all about just like a fairly simplistic history of beauty as a metaphor, drawing a lot on fairy tales and stuff. If only. Then I could, buy some fleece and take it all the way from being fleece to being a sweater. That's what my ex's BFA was in textile arts. Where was my thought going there? It's cool that we get to take over the whole family, but that's not what I was saying. Puzzles made sense. Oh yeah, the fairy tale thing. So I'm not going to describe in detail my master's thesis that I haven't read in 20 years or 15 years of argument. A master of the arts of deciphering Roberta Williams's mind. I'm working on that one. Maybe Greg and I can joint write a thesis about beat 'em ups in a year or two, when we know more about them than anybody else has ever bothered to learn. But yeah, so chapter 1 was like, here's how, when Charlotte Bronte wrote Jane Eyre, it was a well-established literary trope that inner beauty is mirrored in outer beauty. And then I talk about Jane Eyre and how the conventional read on Jane Eyre is that it just totally upends the table on this stuff. Yeah, despite the fact that I have 2 master's degrees, and perhaps it's underscored by the fact that I have 2 master's degrees, I think I'm much better described as a jack of all trades, master of none. But hey, at least that's better than being a master of one, as they say. So my argument about Jane Eyre is that, yes, having a plain heroine who doesn't become beautiful or anything like that is absolutely a proto-feminist upending of established tropes about beauty in literature and folklore and everything. But, I argued, she hasn't fully actualized the thought, because part of what Jane Eyre does is it brings in a beautiful woman, Blanche, who is held up as though she's Jane's rival. But then it turns out that Rochester is basically just using Blanche to make Jane jealous. And then he discards her. And the book kind of has the attitude of just like, oh, good. There's not a lot of worrying about Blanche's feelings, the beautiful woman's feelings. And then also there's the lady in the attic, of course, whose name escapes me at the moment. But, and she, although also there's the mad woman thing. Like, there's a whole other bunch of issues there. But also, she is described in ways that imply her to be, like a voluptuous, kind of racialized foreign beauty. And so, Jane Eyre is just reversing the polarity. Our heroine and the one who is pure of heart is plain of face. But we can have, the beautiful women. We don't need to think so much. It's convenient that the mad woman in the attic dies so that Jane can marry Rochester. And it's awesome that Rochester is just using Blanche to make Jane jealous and then sends her away and doesn't care about her. Whereas actually, that's not great either. And then my third chapter was saying that I think Charlotte Bronte to some degree was cognizant of this when she wrote Villette, which does a lot more work towards problematizing the idea of the self-consciously plain narrator who is the main character and Lucy Snow, I think her name is. I should remember this. I'm a master of this novel. But she encounters a beautiful young woman who's not her romantic rival or anything. But there's a much more active and like distasteful heaping of scorn from Lucy in a way that makes her kind of an unreliable narrator. Where if you're reading carefully, you're like, I don't think this Ginevra Fanshawe really seems that horrible. Okay, I got into way more detail than I meant to. To just say that my thesis was kind of just like, I don't like the original trope and I don't like the flipping of the trope. I think that it's better if just women look like something and then also they can have characters that are defined by their face. And I feel the same way for Edgar. But, hey, I'm glad he got a happy ending, even if just like, yeah. So yeah, this was a cool game. I don't think it was my favorite of the first four. I think that was King's Quest 3 for me. I think that's my favorite so far. But I did think, with again the caveat that I think your point, Cedric, about the frustrating parts of this game is very fair and probably missed me a bit, partially because I got primed for a lot of that stuff by playing these games in sequence, and then also the lack of friction and reloading makes the constant gotcha deaths a lot less annoying. So what I like my own personal reflection on this game is that I think that it takes the model of the first two games of get dumped in a place, have this many screens you can explore, pick up some objects, do some things with them, and eventually complete the quest. I think it is the best refinement of that formula. But King's Quest 3 broke from that formula in ways that I found really compelling. And I kind of regret that those, that we lacked something like that. That would be nice. I'm interested. Is Edgar going to recur in King's Quest 7? Who knows? Who knows indeed. I can't remember any of the plot of King's Quest 6 except that it's Alexander on a quest again. I know nothing of King's Quest 7 except that you switch control between Rosella and Valinus. Yeah. I can't wait. I mean, I can't, because we are going to detour first. Starting next week, I'm going to play The Chants of Sennaar, which is a relatively new puzzle adventure game that is all about deciphering a language in a strange land where you don't speak the language. It's not speech-based. It's all text-based, but it's all cryptogram kind of stuff, basically. And I am really excited for that. It has a beautiful art style. It should be really cool. And then when I finish that, we'll do part 2, 5 through... Ha! That's great, Tashtari. I'm going to tell Greg about that, and he's going to really like that. My buddy Greg, for whatever reason, loves the say nice every time someone says 69 gimmick. Yeah, So hey, cool. I give this game a thumbs up. I give all 4 of them so far a thumbs up. I absolutely am. Now, and my foreknowledge of a lot of the bullshit in King's Quest V is really going to inure me or inoculate me against it. I am not going to be like, what am I supposed to do when Graham is starving in the basement when the thieves tie him up? Because I know that I need to just make sure the rat's alive and he'll come save me, for example. So who knows? But then we're going in 6 through 7. Even though I've beaten 6 before, I couldn't tell you a single thing. Not a single thing about it. So really interested to see what I feel at the end of all this. But the text parser games, I found them overall, I would call these very, very fair games. With an unearned reputation for bullshit and cruelty. Your mileage may vary. But I think these games are good, which is why I'm playing them. That's the thing that I'm a little hesitant to give up the text parser, which I like, for pointing and clicking, which certainly can be done well, but also like King's Quest 4 was awesome. All right, Quest for Glory 4 was awesome, and so was Quest for Glory 3. And so was the remake of Quest for Glory 1, but when I played the original text parser one after having done the point and click one, I was like, oh man, I deprived myself of solving some puzzles that are just way, way easier when all you have to do is click and have the thing happen without having stated clearly what it's supposed to be that happens. So, yeah. So far, so good. And after Chance of Sonara, we'll come back and we'll do 5 through 8. And then I think I might want just a good old-fashioned party-based RPG or something. But who knows? And certainly this experience has sold me on the idea of at least checking out Space Quest. And quite maybe... Then I'm more tentative on do I care about playing Leisure Suit Larry or Police Quest, but check those out maybe. And certainly once I've got a good Sierra foundation, I'd be fascinated to check out some of those LucasArts games. So there's adventure gaming on the horizon for 2024, that's for sure. But yeah, next time, Chance of Sonara, which I think sounds really cool. Hey, in the fullness of time, a lot can happen. And I am inoculated against the fake mustache puzzle of Gabriel Knight 3, so that would help too. I think I've played one of the Gabriel Knights before, but I'll only know that for sure if I play them again and the specific kind of vague image in my mind of a section of the game turns out to be in one of them. But yeah, lots ahead. So, cool. Yeah. Nice. Good stuff. This has been a great time, these first 4 games. I'm looking forward to the last 4. And I'm looking forward to Chance of Sonara in the middle. And I'm looking forward to probably a next party-based RPG I play will be Dark Sun, Shattered Lands. Unless I somehow get to Serpent Isle first on Sundays. That seems... I don't know. Stranger things have happened. And yeah, onwards and upwards. So check it out. Tomorrow... Ooh, okay, I'm listening. Those are good choices. Bless Mark Hamill for being so underrated for so long. Yeah, Stimpinski, I'm certainly enjoying Ultima Underworld 2. And to the extent that the Quest for Glory games, yeah, I thought that was what you meant, PJ. And yeah, and I'm enjoying Ultima Underworld too, but yeah, but exactly. I'd like to have a team again, and I'm looking forward to it, which I will someday. Maybe I got to make a little graphic and do the same create a party member gimmick The only problem being that you only get 4 party members in Dark Sun, and also Dark Sun, the Dark Sun setting, you can have half giants, you can have Thrycreen, and I would both want to not just have a party where all 4 people were like Thrycreen, but I also wouldn't want to have a party of completely normals. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say 2 or 3 audience created members, and then I'm definitely creating 1 or something. I don't know. Lots to think about. And I really don't have time to do anything except occasionally actually do a stream until classes end this term. I overburden myself. So we'll see. That's all coming. Yeah, there's lots I can do. You're right. But I don't have time to define those rules before at least December when classes are over. Which is fine, because I'm not getting to that game until first, Q1 2024 at the earliest. So, all right. So tomorrow, Ultima Underworld 2. I don't know how much time I really have for it tomorrow. I have a packed day because of this tabletop campaign I got going with my buddy that I'm really glad I'm doing, except that I wish it was over. Oh man, having trouble scheduling those sessions, Stimpinski. But hopefully I'll get some Ultima Underworld 2 in tomorrow, back in that Labyrinth of Worlds. On Tuesday, Greg and I are getting really close to the end of Phase 1 of our Beat 'em Up project, which is playing all the games that we consider notables, and a few others, like the Combat Tribes, that came out in the Beat 'em Up genre. Oh, sorry to hear that for both the family issues and the didn't get to play part. Yeah, the first leg is the games we've defined as notable, and all that's left in that defined as notable list is Streets of Rage 2, Streets of Rage 2, the X-Men arcade game, and the Simpsons arcade game. And then Phase 2 is all the rest of the beat 'em ups that came up through 1993, of which there are currently on our I work the body for exactly that reason, British. But yeah, we will have, I believe, on our current list, on our current master list, there are 101 games. No, because I said 4 more notables. So there are 99 games to go once we get through the notables. So there's a lot of beating them up ahead. But on Tuesday, Streets of Rage and possibly Streets of Rage 2, depending on how much Streets of Rage 1 we wind up wanting to play. And then, come Friday, it'll be Friday Night Frosthaven, we are obliged to play the Nerve Center scenario, which is almost exactly what it kind of sounded like in the setup. We're basically breaking into a server room and trashing the servers. So, cool. Get that started. I'm getting very close to finally retiring my first character, getting to start a new character, which is exciting. Even though I'll miss the Bone Shaper and all of her horrors. Next Saturday, like I said, the Chants of Sinar. And then spinning onwards and upwards to infinity. So hey, awesome. Fun stuff. I should every now and then say, hey, you could subscribe. I don't see why you would. But you could. I mean, you get a few extra emojis, but all the emojis are just neutral faces of my friends who, you see Greg a lot. You see Rich about once a week. You've seen Lauren in the distant past and possibly never again. And you may never have seen Danielle. Or Robert, my buddy Robert, who has dropped off the face of the earth since the birth of his son over 2 years ago. Oh my. But yeah, so you could subscribe though. Specifically, I mean, my main pitch is if you didn't know that your Amazon Prime account that you already have can be linked to your Twitch and then gets you 1 free subscription per month. You might as well. But at the end of the day, I value your company more than like $2. So, at your leisure. You can watch the back catalog on YouTube, and it's getting very, very close to all being there. I'm working my way through Ultima 5 right now, and then I'm basically current, which is cool. And what else? The Discord that I mentioned, you could join us there if you want to chat. It's mostly me and Stupinski occasionally talking about board games. That's something I could do. And like I said, British, doesn't matter. I'm just glad you're here. That's more important to me. Because I'm, there are so many better uses for your $2.99. I'm doing all right financially. But it is fun when the number goes up. So I should do the pitch now and then. You can join us on the Discord like I was saying. And that is everything I can think of to pitch right now. So hey, if you stuck around to the end, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you came and you left, you can't hear my voice. But I'm glad you stopped by anyway. So thanks for stopping by. And until the next time that we're all in some kind of perils together, take care of yourselves and be kind to everyone you meet.